All right, what is up, takers? This is Ty's Take Today Live. I am Tyler Belts. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do this each and every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to do this rundown really quick for you all because we have a packed episode tonight with three amazing guests. And of course, April being Financial Literacy Awareness Month, the first half of this episode is going to be dedicated to all things financing. So hopefully everybody got their taxes completed and that's out of the way. So later on, we're going to be talking about how you can afford everything. So that vacation to Maui or wherever you want to go, we're going to be talking finances with two of our guests today. Up first, we are talking to the Profit-Ista tax strategist and CPA, Nicole Gillyard, followed by Dr. Darla Bishop. And then closing us out, of course, we are still talking all things Love and Marriage Detroit. We're going to be checking in with Anthony Thompson to talk about some of his projects, his podcast, and of course, behind the scenes of Love and Marriage Detroit. That being said, I'm going to let you guys know where to follow us on social media real quick. Follow us on Facebook, hit us up on Instagram, and of course, hit that subscribe button. We're slowly working to our goal of 500 subscribers to start us off. So be sure to follow us on all of those social media platforms, and then of course, Ty'sTakeToday.com. Also, if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube tonight and you have a question for any of our guests or just want to check in and let us know where you're watching from, or just share your thoughts on today's episode, you guys can do so in the comments and then we'll be sharing them on the screen throughout the evening. That being said, coming up first on the show, now that we got our introduction out of the way, she goes by the Profit-Ista. Make some noise for Nicole Gillyard. Hello, how's it going?
Hello, Ty. It's going great. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. I am so excited to be talking finances because if anybody out there is like me, let me know. I waited till the very last, the night before to be like, dang, I need to, like, it's tax season. I need to get these done. So I am super excited now that that's out of the way. And I just want to talk, with April being Financial Literacy Month, I want to share with our audience a little bit more about yourself and, you've had an impressive 30-year career in accounting and financing. So
Yeah.
can you walk us through your journey and what led you to become a tax strategist and fractional or a CPA? Excuse
Yep.
me.
No problem. No problem. Yes, it has been 30 years. Wow. So my journey started like 1999. I will just put that date out there. Working in public accounting, went through college, worked in public accounting, and just saw a gap in the smaller businesses getting those CPA services. So just started doing some work on the side. I guess that's my side hustle, right? And just kind of fell in love with that sector and just kind of spiraled into this longevity of starting a practice on my own, doing taxes, accounting, tax strategy, audits, all CPA work. But my sector is really small businesses. So that's how it started, and that's what it's birthed into.
Absolutely, such an incredible journey. I'm like, dang, not to date myself, but almost slowly approaching 30. I'm like, wow, that's a really extensive journey. So I want to know where did what inspired you to start by the numbers CPA, as well as where did the nickname Profitista come from? That's what I want to know.
So by the numbers, I really came through a branding. The initial name of my business was Worldwide Tax Services. All right, that was the initial name because I wanted to serve the world. But just working through branding, we restructured the name to By the Numbers CPA, just to give it a little jazz, a little spin. When people hear it, they think of numbers or accounting. So that's where that birthed from. Um, but yeah, just working with the smaller businesses has kind of been the niche and have grown that. But I really, my passion is business education. I really focus on educating the business owner on being profitable, sustaining their businesses, where those, businesses sell what we know fail by 5% within the first 1 to 3 years. So really just kind of filling that gap so that doesn't have to happen. That's pretty much my passion area with By the Numbers.
Absolutely. And you've helped over 3,500 clients nationwide. What common misconceptions or do you see with clients in general when it comes to taxes or financial planning? I know a lot of people don't even know where to begin when it comes to like IRAs, 401ks. Like if you're just trying to get your financial journey together or begin full attention on that process, where do people begin and what misconceptions do you see?
The biggest misconception is that it's hard. It's very intimidating, overwhelming. Most people, when they come to me, they waited to the last moment or something detrimental is happening and they need assistance. And then they find out that really it wasn't that hard or that difficult, just working with somebody who understands what they need. So that's the biggest misconception. I would say if you're trying to get your finances in order, lay out the framework of what's important to you. Like if it's making sure that money's left for generations, you want to look at life insurance, or you have a kid that's going needs to go to college, you want to look at 529 plan. You want to get your life in order, your debt down, you want to look at budgeting and kind of controlling your costs and things like that. So it's just about really figuring out where you are and what you want to focus on. That's where you start. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Nicole, for you, what are some unique or just challenges or obstacles that you've had to overcome? And then even let's talk about a little bit about the rewards that you've seen, being a successful Black woman who is in finance and entrepreneurship. What has that experience been like? And can you share some of the positives and some of those challenges that you've overcome?
The positive, I'll start off with that, is pretty much like almost like we're unicorns, right? Once people find out from a Black woman perspective, once they find out that you know what you're talking about, because there's so few of us in the industry, they grab onto us and they want us in there, especially when DEI was a thing. It's going through its process now, but they wanted us on board to kind of help out. And they're just realizing that we do bring value to the business from the financial perspective. So that's been my experience, right? On the negative side, it's that perception that by some that we don't necessarily know everything, right? Not everything, but we don't know the ins and outs of what we do, right? For me, being a CPA, they might not feel like I'm experienced enough or know enough to help them with their businesses just because of the color of my skin or my gender, right? We do go through that. But for the most part, once people meet and talk to me, I've been able to break that barrier, right? And it's just keeping a positive perspective, not assuming that people have that perception of you when you go in. And that's pretty much how I overcome that obstacle.
Absolutely. And I know, we mentioned April being Financial Literacy Month. So from your perspective, what are the most urgent, and I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, what are the most urgent financial lessons that individuals and business owners need to understand and really begin to learn about like right now?
Right now, just in this administration, I've spoken to many of my clients about streamlining things, bringing down the overhead. Because right now is just a time to kind of ride this out. We got tariffs, we got federal funding being cut, just if you're nonprofit, it's just so many areas. So right now, my biggest thing is just if you can cut down your overhead, if you can control your costs better to ride this out, that's the way to go. For tariffs, it's looking for domestic companies that provide that same thing, those same products or services that you use from overseas, and just ride this out.
Absolutely. I think that's super important. And then, like I said, with the tax deadline having just passed, what key things should people be reviewing in their filings, to avoid red flags later or even next tax season? What are some of those red flags or missed opportunities people should be mindful of?
From a business perspective, waiting till the last minute, right? I have so many people that wait till the last minute and they have to go through their bank statements to figure out their costs. Just set the accounting system up now. What I mean? Now we're 4 months in. Just do it now, because what happens is you're rushing, you're missing those expenses that are deductible, the ones that you paid out of your personal account that haven't been pulled over to the business account. There's just so much, and we want to take advantage of those write-offs. So start early and just reap the benefits of doing it now.
Absolutely. Look, I have learned my lesson. By next year, I am going to be ready to go way in advance. And I know you've spoken often about, sustainability and profit mastery. What are your top 3 strategies for turning short-term revenue into long-term financial stability?
Short-term revenue into long-term. Again, it's so if you have the income coming in, it's really a lot of businesses that have the money coming in, but they also have a lot of expenses going out, right? So my biggest take is if you want to see more stay in your business, you're going to have to understand what your costs are, first of all. You have to understand your costs so that you can have your price point correct. A lot of businesses don't charge what they need to charge to cover their costs. That's first and foremost, so pricing. Number two is of controlling the cost that you have. So your contract workers, your payroll, your costs that you have to buy to do your service or your business, streamlining that and keeping them in a safe space where you're not overspending. All right. And then once you do have the monies left over, securing them in the bank account, putting them in savings, let them get interest added onto them. So a lot of people just get their money in the bank and they're not even getting 3%. But if you do have money in the bank, move it to a savings account or a money market account. I mean, banking, the percentage rates aren't really that great, but something that's generating more than 3% on you, will help you accrue more money in your account. So my thing is profit, knowing your price point, controlling your costs, and putting money to the side to accrue.
Absolutely. And then, Nicole, are you familiar with like the beneficial ownership information reporting and that process?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know that's for particularly for small business owners, correct?
Well, it's for any LLC, S corp, where you own interest in that business, right? They want you to go to this site, FinCEN, and register your name. Include some of your personal information just to show your ownership in that business. Right now, that ask has been suspended. Right, they decided that it was unconstitutional for now. Right, I know it's going to be a fight. The court has been going back and forth in court. It's been our Achilles heel, if you will, because there's so much change going on with it. But right now it's suspended. But should it come back, if you have any 25% or more ownership in a business, you're going to have to do that filing or fees.
Good to know. Duly noted. And then I do want to talk a little bit more about your journey and your involvement within the community. But wrapping up the tax questions, what are some lesser known deductions or credits for business owners or people in general that often that could significantly impact them at the end of the day?
I think a lot of people miss out on well, for one, I will say that most business owners don't know that everything business related to their business is deductible. I get a lot of questions on, well, is this, well, it's anything business related. The IRS says anything you find ordinary or necessary for your business is deductible. So what I tell people, if you can find a business purpose for pretty much everything, it's deductible. But what I see a lot of people miss out on, especially if they do a lot of contract work, is, something as simple as business use of your cell phone. Right? I know that's small, but people miss out on that. Uniforms, if you have to dress a certain way, or uniforms can be deducted as well. Auto expenses, a lot of people don't realize if you do purchase a car for your business, there's what's called a bonus depreciation for 60% of that car price that you can get in the first year right off. So that's a huge thing. What else? Use of space, rent. There's so much. But what I like to just say and put out there is that anything you deem ordinary and necessary for your business can be a deduction.
Absolutely. And now turning to talk a little bit about community involvement. I know you're leading the revitalization of College Park through the C Park Business Hub.
Yes.
So what really motivated you to give back to the community and invest in your community in this way?
Well, the first thing, my practice was in Detroit, and I relocated to Atlanta. And looking for office space was just this eye-opening experience because real estate is so high in Atlanta. And so I thought to myself, if my practice, I do pretty good, but for that person starting out, it's very hard for them to find space to grow their business. So for me, it was just like finding a space for myself. And I found this rehab building that needed a lot of work. And I like that because I can make it the way I want. So it's going to house my practice, but it's also going to house office space for other businesses that want to come in. It's going to be very affordable because that's the thing. It's about being affordable. And I want it to be a business hub where they can get resources, right, to build their business, understanding the accounting and the tax side of things, understanding marketing and all that stuff. So they'll get all that while they're there. And the goal is that they come, they sprout, and then they go out, they transform out, right? So they get grant money, things like that. I just wanted to be a full community business hub type place to really help businesses out.
Absolutely.
That's my heart.
So not just a place where people can rent out office space or work or have meetings at, but also being able to provide those resources that some may not know where to seek those resources, and different like financial workshops and networking opportunities as well.
Yep, all in one space. The C Park Business Hubs can be awesome.
Absolutely. That is super incredible. And that is in Atlanta, correct?
Yes, College Park. College Park.
Awesome. And then how do you see the intersection of financial literacy and entrepreneurship as a tool for community transformation overall, especially when it comes to, historically underserved areas and communities?
It's so important to have financial literacy. I love any type of financial literacy program. It's just about the people interested in starting a business or maintaining their business, tapping into those resources. It's becoming more and more the norm that they have these type of programs out there. So I'm really excited about that. But it's just very, very important that business owners tap into that because it takes them to the next level. Sure, you have the idea, you're great at what you do, but there's so many other parts to running a business, sustaining that business, and going on to profitability. So it's very important to me.
And of course, as an educator, advocator, and just overall leader, we've seen some of your pieces in different publications. How do you tailor financial education, especially to resonate with different demographics, particularly women and communities of color?
So the thing I find most is that it's really not a different story. It's really the same story. It's just meeting a demographic where they are. Of course, being a Black woman, I have the understanding of certain things that I make relatable in my articles. I really talk to couples about finances because my thing is if you have a power couple, if they both understand finances, there's just so much they can do, especially in marriage or just in a relationship. And then just that single person that's out there trying to do the same thing, I just tailor it and make it relatable. The biggest thing is for me, I make it in layman's terms, right? CPA speak, legal speak can be so over the head. I try to make it understandable, give examples, and just kind of speak to that level. And that's kind of been my niche, and that's kind of where I develop the relationships with the clients I have.
Absolutely. Yes, please continue breaking it down. Simplest terms is sometimes the best
Yeah.
way to be able to fully understand a topic. And then lastly, before we play rapid fire, what legacy do you want to leave as a whole as the Profit-Ista?
The legacy for the Profit-Ista is just coming from behind the CPA desk and really helping people, right? I really want someone to think back to me and any type of relationship we've had that I helped them in some way. And that's it.
Absolutely. And now let's go ahead and fire off some rapid fire questions.
Weird.
What is the first thing that you ever splurged on with your own money?
A Coach purse.
Okay, okay. Would you rather have unlimited airline miles or unlimited Amazon credits?
Mm. Ooh, them Amazon. I'm gonna say airline though.
I'm gonna say Amazon only because I don't like to fly.
Okay.
So, but if we're talking like first class flights, I might just have to.
Yeah.
A nice mimosa, a nice little salad or something. I probably would be okay on a plane.
Yeah.
Um, if you found $5,000 in an old jacket pocket, what's the first thing you would do with it?
Mm. 5,000. I'm gonna put it in the bank. I'm gonna put it in my IRA.
I was gonna say the IRA for sure. What is your favorite money saving hack that people always sleep on?
Money saving coupons. Listen to me. Shopping nowadays, these prices, coupons is a savings hack.
I was gonna say I used to do cashier at CVS, and when I tell you those couponers are no joke, like
It's
I
a
was more power to you. If you have the patience to coupon, it'll definitely come in handy shopping at CVS.
yes.
Um, would you rather coach Beyonce on budgeting or Oprah on investing?
I'm gonna go with Beyonce.
Yes. What is the most profitable decision? See, I was trying to be corny with it. What's the most profitable decision that you've ever made?
To step out of my comfort zone and buy a building.
I love that, and I definitely want to see. I'm gonna come to Atlanta because I want to come and visit for sure.
Yes.
Because I think that is so incredible giving back to your community, and that's truly going to make a difference for generations and families and communities to come. So I want to give you your flowers for that for
Thank
sure. What is one thing that you'll never feel guilty about spending money on?
And what came to my mind first was me. Me. I never feel guilty about spending money on me.
That part. For
There
me,
you
I
are.
feel like it's just like Starbucks. Like, let me have my coffee.
Mm.
And then also, like I said, if you guys are watching, you guys can chime in. Rocky Harris said yes in rewards programs. I love retail me not.
Yeah.
So shout outs to Rocky Harris for sure for helping us get connected and allowing us to talk to Nicole today. She's also saying College Park is about 20 minutes away from
Yep.
ATL.
Yep.
So definitely worth visiting for sure. And then closing us out, if your money mindset had a theme song, what would it be?
Paid in full, Raheem. I'm a
Hey,
Generation X, baby.
I love it. I love it. And then Nicole, I just want to say thank you again so much for all of the work that you're doing and truly making a difference. And be sure before we get out of here to let everybody know where to follow you on social media. And then we'll go ahead and pop it up on the screen as well.
Sure. All my social medias are the Profit-Ista. That's going to be up. Yep. IG. That's going to be Facebook. What else am I on? And the website. Yep. Profitista.com.
Awesome. Nicole, thank you so much again. I hope that we can continue our conversations about financial literacy and all of the amazing work that you're doing. So thank you again for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Ty.
Absolutely. And we'll be sure to put Nicole's information on the caption and description of this video. And be sure to follow her and connect with her on social media as well. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to have her back on the show again soon. All right. So coming up next, she is the author of How to Afford Everything. And let me tell you guys, as an independent podcast host and journalist, you always want to do your research. That being said, I read this entire book, but that's not a shocker for me because I am a avid reader. And I learned a lot. I'm telling you, this book is all notated up and highlighted. I'm just gonna show you guys all just some of it because I wrote my own notes. I highlighted things, and if you stay tuned to the end of this discussion, we have your chance to win. Two people will be able to win a copy of this book. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our next guest to the chat. This is Dr. Darla Bishop. How are you?
Hey, and so happy to be here with you, Ty. How are you doing today?
Doing well. I am super excited to dive into this book. I know you have another book that's about to be rolling out soon. So I really just want to share a little bit with our audience about you and how you got started, and we'll dive into how to afford everything because this has me thinking every dollar I spend.
Yeah, so you already got to the spending commitments, huh?
I already did. I notated my book up. I haven't pulled out and made my copies of the trackers yet, but
Oh,
that's
and
the
guess what? You don't have to. You can go to my website and you can download them.
see even better. So I am super excited. And how to afford everything. You know, you do ask an important question right away off jump, which is being able to afford everything you want even realistic? So I think that's a lot of people's question. Like, am I going to be able to retire? Am I going to be able to live the life that I want? What does that magic number even look like? So I know that's a lot. It that first question is it possible?
Yeah, and when I was writing this book, the title, I was waiting for the title to come with me because I had like talked to a bunch of other authors, like, how did you name your book? They say, oh, the title will come to you as you write it. And my editor was like, we need the title, girl. We got to make the cover. Like, what's the title? And I'm waiting for the book to tell me. She was like, well, I need to make the cover. So come up with the title. And so I kind of like went on a walk and I said, well, what promise am I going to make to people? If somebody decides to pick up my book, because picking up a money book can be scary, right? I've been hurt by money books, right? So if you've been hurt by a money book before, you might not pick up another one. And also, like, as I've coached people, as I've given people advice over the years, as I've gone through my own journey to understand money, I was like, what is the thing that people truly want? And you know what it is? They just want to be able to afford everything. And for some people, I just want to be able to pay these dang on bills. For some people, I want to put my kids in whatever sport they want because that they're good at it and they get great coaching and it's good for them as young people. For some people, I wish I could afford to work, right? Like, I can't afford childcare, so I can't even go get the job that I want to get. For some people, it's big trips and doing things for their parents, right? So like that everything is everything to you.
Absolutely. And I think it's such a in-depth question. What has been the common misunderstandings that you found that people have about the idea of being able to afford everything or the life that you would like to have?
Part of it is that people know that they value certain things, but then when we actually look at their money isn't going towards the things they say is really important. So how do we reorganize your life and your budget so that you're doing the things that make you feel good? The other thing is people think that they have to be like no fun, can't help anyone, can't do anything in order to get their money right. Now, depending on if you're in a really bad spot or a really tight spot, maybe. Maybe for a few months, maybe for a year or two, you'll have to be a little bit tighter, but you don't remove all the joy from your life. Like that, don't, please, you won't make it.
Most definitely not. I think it's a gradual process. And I know I mentioned the magic number. Can you tell us how do we identify the magic number? What's the first step even when it comes to figuring out that number?
Yeah, so the magic number, this is the amount of money you need every month so that you are living your best life ever. Like it's just smooth. The bills are paid, a little emergency came up, but you have the money. So it really was just inconvenient, not an emergency. A friend that you haven't seen in a while, you ran into them and you decide to go have some drinks or go to dinner. And you're like, you know what? I'm so happy to see you. It's on me. And it doesn't throw everything off. Like, what is the number that it takes you to do that? So you have to first actually look at how you spent money, not how you wish you spent money, not how you plan to spend money, not how you wanted to spend money, but how you actually spent money over the last 3 months or so. And then you say, okay, are there things coming up in my life that will cost me money that I always forget about? My car tags, maybe I pay my insurance just 1 or 2 times a year. Maybe I'm parenting in like the back to school time or Christmas time, or, we have a holiday coming up. So a lot of people are putting together Easter baskets. Like, was that in your budget? And then the third thing is to like really sit and think, did I make space for joy in my magic number? Did I make space for something that will fill me up and fuel me for the journey? Because it won't be easy paying off debt and putting money aside and saying no to things, not forever, but right now because I'm focused on a goal. Like, did you fit some joy in even along the way so that you have the fuel to get to that destination of being debt free or having a certain amount in your savings account or being able to say yes to your kids when you're in the store and they ask for something?
I think it's such a, like some people look at it and they're just automatically, this is an exhausting process. I don't want to do this. But I think, and we mentioned about it earlier, because I've read so many different books when it comes to finances, and like you said, overwhelming, not sure where to even begin. I want to talk a little bit about what has been some of the biggest challenges that you've seen as an author. I know you also have an instant download digital book, how to afford college. What makes How to Afford Everything completely different than any other financial book out there? Because there's so many.
Yeah, I wrote this book to fill two gaps. So in my own journey, so like I got a little bit of money now, like really highlight on little, like bold underscore little. Um, but it hasn't always been this way. And in my own journey to get here, I had to learn and unlearn a whole lot of stuff. So I read more than 100 books to do that. And I was like, it shouldn't take 100 books. It shouldn't take anybody 100 books because who was going to read 100 books? Yes, I'm a nerd, but most people are not, right? And so what is it that if I'm the only or perhaps the last money book someone picks up, do I want them to be able to walk away with? One is that if you're starting out or starting over, I wanted to make sure you had an order to go in. Because a lot of times people are just like, okay, I have all these things I'm taking care of, right? I'm a millennial. So I've got parents who need stuff. I've got kids who need stuff. I'm managing a career. I'm married. I like to go on vacation sometimes. I have friends who live all over the country that I want to visit, especially when they have a life change, like a new baby or a new wedding, right? And so like, how do I do all of that? Like, what's the right order? Because I got 10 things on the list, but I can't always do 10 things. So if I got to pick 7 or 5, what's the first 5 or 7 so that things run smooth, right? So I created the trademark paycheck playbook to help people understand where to start and where to go next. The second thing is when I was growing up and getting my money together, almost every book told me when you're focused on getting your money together, you do not help family. You don't give, you don't loan, you don't support. And for me, that was not my reality. If my sister called and said, man, I really want this prom dress, but I don't think we can get it, I was going to, especially as a young person who had the ability to work and do overtime or pick up side hours, right? Like I was going to help with that. I was going to send money. So it was not in my reality or anything I even wanted to do to cut people off while I was building my safety net, right? And so I wanted to give people who have that situation, because maybe they're the first to get somewhere. Maybe they're the first to blaze the trail, but they want to bring the people with them. And so how do you bring the people with them in a way that you're still doing what you need to do and you're bringing the other people with you?
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned the story about your mom, because you said, you wanted to be able to help her, but it also had to make sense for your budget and for your spending. So you kind of, you took over, you were like, Mom, is there a bill that I can pay monthly, or, knowing that amount, because when it comes to amounts and numbers and when they fluctuate, I think that's the biggest thing. Like if we have an income that's, um, it varies, having an idea of what you are able to allocate. And then you also mentioned, giving back to the community and donating. And I think one key takeaway is you have to make sure that you're providing, and you have that emergency fund. So I want to talk about the expletive fund.
The fund.
And let's talk about, if you can share with our audience a little bit more about that. And
yes, and so
go ahead. Sorry.
Conventional wisdom will tell you, especially right now, people are really worried about the economy. So people are like, make sure you get your 3 to 6 months saved. Look, if I got $0 saved and you want me to put 3 to 6 months away, I'm never going to save no money, because that is just such a big mountain to climb, right? So I actually have you start with an OSH fund. And it's basically, I'm going to have you climb a savings ladder. And the savings ladder is, first, you're going to start with $500. Do whatever you can to put $500 in a savings account. Cool. Once you get there, then you get to 1,000. And now you have an OSH fund. And that fund, it might not solve all your problems, but it will buy you time. It'll give you a little bit of space to come up with a long-term solution. And it might actually solve a few problems, right? And what's best is if you're working on paying down debt, when something small comes up and you have $1,000 in the bank, you might not have to go into further debt. You might be able to just take care of it. And that feels so good to be able to do that. It takes an emergency to be like, oh, that was a little inconvenient, but we got it. It's cool. We took care of it. And that feels so good. Like, has that ever happened to you, Ty? Do you remember that feeling? Not yet. It's coming.
Hey, it's definitely coming for sure. How do you see your work connecting with or influencing current discussions or challenges when it comes to budgeting or just finances overall? And what has been the response thus far from your publication?
Well, part of it is I practice what I preach, right? So like as things are getting tighter, I work in industries that like might be reshaped by things happening at the federal government. I work in public health, I work in education, and I work in health insurance. And so what that means is, in case something happens with a job or my salary or something, I want to make sure that I've got a little bit put away. So I put myself on a savings plan. I have been using my coupons, like the Profit-Ista said. I have been paying attention to how full our freezer and pantry is. I have been looking for ways to just sock a little bit of extra into a savings account so we have more time. Because when you have money saved, what it really buys you is time. It buys you time to figure it out, buys you time with your family, with your kids, where you don't have to be at work. It buys you time. So I'm just trying to increase how much time I have in case something big changes in our financial lives. And I think what people get, that aha moment that I see happen most often, is they've been so afraid to look at their money that once they look, they're like, oh, I can do something about this. And that's the hardest part, is sitting down and writing down how much you owe to people. And yes, even your cousin you borrowed $20 from, write down that debt. How much it really costs you to live, what you are spending on going out to eat and on things that make your life a little easier. And I'm not going to tell you to put those away. I would never say that. I might tell you that you got to do it a different way. So if you know you want to go out to eat, and say you're a family, you're going to pick restaurants where kids eat free, or you're going to pick restaurants where if you go at 4 o'clock, it's still the lunch price, right? So you're going to do it. You're just going to do it in a way that the cost is a little bit lower, or you get more value. So you still do the thing you like, but in a way that also works and contributes to your other goals of being financially well.
Absolutely. And I know Doris is checking in. She's in the comments. She said, really love that because I've been so focused on putting the 1,000 up, but smaller achievable goals really help you stay motivated.
Yes, climb the ladder.
And I think that's super important. And I know, so you said the security of tomorrow holds more weight than the luxury of today. That was a extremely powerful line in the book that I had to share with everybody. How do you coach people who struggle with delayed gratification, especially in, you know, a swipe happy culture that we live in?
Well, part of it is we actually sit down and see where the money has been going, and that usually opens up eyes anyway. Like, I didn't realize I was spending that much. I didn't realize I was going through that many drive-throughs. I didn't realize, right, is what I hear. I had no idea. So first, that awareness, that's the first thing that changes anyway. And then the second part of it is we think about what is it that you're after. I was just in a coaching call last week, and the person spent a lot of money on going to bars, going to restaurants, going to happy hours, going to brunches. And what we figured out through talking is it wasn't so much that she liked being out to eat and out to drink. She wanted to be social. She needed to be around people. She wanted to have conversations, right? And so we thought about ways that she could get her social needs met at a lower price point. So she's looking into book clubs. She's looking into social orgs. She's looking into going to happy hour on certain days when she knows she can also eat dinner and have a drink for a fraction of the cost, right? So we're not taking those things out. We're just changing the way we do them so that her other need of being around people is met, but she also can keep some money in the bank.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned some finance tools like Catchafire and Taproot. How do some of these platforms and softwares fit into your philosophy of purpose-driven financial planning?
For me, what I actually don't subscribe to any rules. So you might notice somewhere in the book, I'll say, you know, I don't follow the 70-30, the 50-30-20, none of those rules because they don't work for me, right? So what we're actually going to do is I want you to really look at your life, how it's structured right now, how you think it might change over the next 6 or 12 months, and build the budget around that, build the plan around that. And whatever tool helps you be consistent, whether that's a spreadsheet, a Google Doc, an Excel, just looking at your bank account on certain days of the week, at certain times of the day, an actual app that gives you alerts, whatever it is that will allow you to get into the habit of paying attention to your money, of spending your money the way that you said you're going to do, then that's the one we're going to use because we're setting ourselves up for success.
Hey, period. So I know I mentioned investing, and I feel like it's so overwhelming and anxiety and the exhaustion of it all. You do suggest that, you know, a non-flashy, diversified portfolio can still ultimately bring you long-term results. So what is your advice out there for people who are ready to take that jump into the investment world?
Yes, just like with savings, investing is very similar. It's a time game. And so it's about deciding how much money you're going to put away and doing that consistently. So is there a certain amount you're going to have taken out of your paycheck at work, which is an excellent way to not only save on your tax bill, but to build up savings? Like, for example, and some people might not be there, this number might sound big, but I just want to give you an example. Right now, you can put $23,500 away every year into your 401k or 403b. Those are retirement accounts that you get through your employer. And imagine that if I told you today, Ty, over the next 5 years, I need you to put away $100,000. How would that feel? Do you think you can make a plan for that? Like, did that make your heart start beating a little bit?
It got me excited.
It got you excited,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. But if you were putting $20,000 to $23,000 away out of your paycheck, and again, I know that's a big number, then it's easy to come up with $100,000 over 5 years, right? Because it just came out of your paycheck. It never went anywhere you can see it. And again, that's big numbers, but say you can only put away $500 out of each paycheck. That's still several $1,000s that over a few years, then all of a sudden you got $100,000 sitting in a bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And yeah, you can't touch it without some really good reasons until you're older, but it's sitting in a bank account. You got money. Ooh, you got money.
Okay, okay. And speaking of numbers, I'm a big person on like affirmations and speaking things into existence. So I know you even mentioned, aside from the numbers and in those values, even just the power of choosing our words alone, how does our language shape our relationship when it comes to money?
Listen, money ain't math. The math involved in money is like third grade. If you're 8, you can do money math. It's add, subtract, a little bit of division, a little bit of multiplication, maybe some making some tables just so you can see how things are going to flow over time, right? Like the math ain't hard. What's hard is this thing between your ears. And one of the easiest and most effective ways to change the way you think about money, feel about money, is to change the way you talk about money, because then your ears hear it from the outside and your brain processes it and takes it in as something that we're supposed to say to ourselves in our head. So we don't say I'm broke. Nope. We say that's not a priority right now, or let me think about it, or that's not in my plan. Right? Like, because then you have control instead of being like, well, I'm broke, I can't do it. You're explaining not only to the people who maybe invited you to something that just you can't swing, you're hearing that, wait, I'm on a plan, right? And this doesn't fit my plan, right? And I'm doing what I said I was going to do, right? I'm that girl.
Absolutely. And Dr. Darla, I want to talk a little bit about your upcoming projects. I know we have a screen grab to show, but
You
super
do?
exciting.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about Madeline's Money Adventure and what can readers expect, and how do you hope to with this children's book, begin the conversation of finances when it comes to parents and their children.
So this book is actually the brainchild of my 6-year-old daughter, Madeline, and that's the cartoon version of Madeline. And she said she wanted to write a book because mommy has a book, right? So, like, if you're a parent, what you do, your kids will want to do. And so do cool stuff. Take them places. They don't have to cost a lot of money. You can take them to parks. You can take them to libraries. You can take them to free stuff. Okay. Sorry, I had to say that. But what I realized as we were working on the project together is, this is how we can get some families to have good, calm, positive conversations about money, right? Because when things are tight, whether you know it or not, your kids know if things are tight. They ask for something and you might be a little bit irritated or mean or frustrated that you have to say no all the time, just like they are, right? And so what are some ways that we can have positive or at least neutral conversations about money? And so this is a way to do that. It, introduces the concept of saving, spending, and giving, because again, generosity is how we all made it to where we are. And so we're going to continue to pay it forward because we can. And it doesn't always have to mean money. It can mean time or energy or talent, right? And so how do we teach kids those things? And shoot, the adults reading it, that might be the first time that they've heard it in that way. And so for me, I'm so thankful that my daughter had this idea, because it also will help us reach homes that maybe that mom or dad or auntie or grandma would have never picked up my book for a whole lot of reasons, right? They're not there. They think they're too far gone, but they'll pick up a book for a kid and they might just learn something and have some really awesome conversations with the whole family.
Absolutely. I think starting those conversations early on is really what's beneficial for, like you said, the children and the parents. Before we get out of here, I do want to play a quick game of rapid fire, which we did with our first guest on the show. So basically, it's just a couple random fun rapid fire questions. Starting us off, what is one book you wish you had written?
I had not read.
You had written.
Written. Ooh.
Because I know you got a list of recommendations of other books in the back of this, but because there's just so many financial books.
There's so many books, but you know what the beautiful thing about that means is that there's a lot of ways to get it right. Sometimes we're worried about getting it wrong, but there's actually a lot of ways to get it right. I pass. I don't have a good answer. I am a well-read person, and so it's hard for me to say.
Sorry. No worries. Nope. I got more for you. Would you rather get $1 million or have your book turned into a hit Netflix series?
Oh, hit Netflix series, because it will be much bigger than $1 million. Much bigger. And I'll take the
Hey,
first million and flip that into 3 other businesses, and then I'll be starting to get a B by my name like Issa Rae. Okay, she got everything. She got a
that part.
sports
Hey,
team. She got alcohol. She got hair care. Like she after that B.
hey, manifesting it, speaking it already into existence. Netflix and all the docu-series, here we come. What is your go-to splurge after reaching a big goal?
Ooh, a crazy delicious meal. And it's not even always expensive. It's just like maybe one of those places where, it's a slow experience because they want you to taste the wine and they'll bring the food out eventually, but they know you're enjoying your company. So like kind of like a really delicious slow dinner at a place where the food is top notch. And there are places in Detroit where, that could just be a $20 dinner, but the food is so good.
I'm hungry already. If your life had a financial tagline, what would it be?
Money is fun. Money is fun. Money is fun. If this has not been your experience, come hang out with me at howtoaffordeverything.com and I'll show you the way, because money is fun, baby.
Hey, sign me up. And now this one is probably a question for myself, because if you guys could see, my entire bookshelf is filled with books that I need to read. There's books piling up on the floor in my living room, and then there's more books in the Amazon wish list and cart that have yet to be bought. So I'm a big reader. So I have to ask you, do you, first of all, do you like to read? And do you budget for books like other people budget for groceries? Because
Yes.
that's
So
where I'm
actually,
at.
so I have 2 ways that I get books. So one, I have, an Audible membership, because listening to books is one of the easiest ways for me to get books in now. I have young kids, I work, and so like sitting to read is a luxury that just doesn't fit in my time budget. But so I listen to a lot of books. So I have a membership. So that's how I get my monthly listen that way. And I use my library. I'm a member of 3 libraries because I'm a professor. So I have access to library at my university. I'm a professor at 2 universities, so I have access to libraries there and my local library. And so I also get books and audiobooks for the free. And so if you did not know that you can get books for free, including ebooks and audiobooks from your library, go get a library card. Stop playing.
That part, there are resources out there for everything. And closing us out, what is one piece of money advice you'd give to your younger self?
For my younger self, I would have probably told myself to calm down. Like, it's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. But don't be so worried. Just take the action. Take the action and keep going. And so if you're listening and you're like, I don't even know, and blah, 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 like, it's going to be okay, especially if you take the action. Because we think it's about motivation. Well, I just need to be motivated. I just need to whatever. No, no, no. That's backwards. It's the action. When you take an action, and then you get a little bit of progress, you get momentum, and that momentum builds your confidence, and that confidence keeps you going. And so take the action. Take the action. Look at your budget, write down your debt, think about how you can either make a little bit extra money or spend a little less money, and see if it makes you feel better.
Absolutely. Dr. Darla Bishop, thank you so much for joining us. And before we let everybody know where to follow you, I want to mention that if you guys are watching this on live on Facebook and YouTube, be sure to stay tuned to our social media platforms, because Darla is allowing us the opportunity for you to get your hands on her book, How to Afford Everything. We're going to be giving away 2 copies, so be sure to check our Facebook and our Instagram and Threads for information on how you can get your hands on this. And I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite financial books. This is going on my recommendation list.
I love that. And there are going to be some bonuses, because I just got the print copies in for Money's Madeline's Adventure. So you might sneak a couple of children's books in your prize. So be sure to enter the drawing.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for donating those for our viewers. And be sure to let everybody know where to follow you on social media. We're going to also put it up on the screen as well.
Yes. Please find me at darlabishop.com. All the links are at darlabishop.com/social. And I'm on all platforms as my _ finance sis, because I'm your big sis who helps you with your money.
Hey, I just found a new financial friend, and I'm going to be talking to you. So hopefully we can collaborate and do some Money Matters segments even.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll be in touch. Thank you so much again for joining us. Once again, Dr. Darla Bishop.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll be sure to put all of Dr. Darla Bishop's information on our social media platforms. And now, our last guest closing us out this evening. He's been featured on the show before. Love and Marriage Detroit Season 2, Part 2 is back. And here to chop it up with us is Anthony Thompson.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, Anthony? Thank you once again so much for joining us. I know it's been extremely busy for both of us, so I'm just glad to have you back on the show. For those that missed our first interview back when Love and Marriage Detroit first premiered, can you kind of fill in our audience a little bit, and then we'll dive into what's upcoming, and especially with this upcoming episode as well. I know it's about to get intense.
Well, we're on season 2, the second half of Love and Marriage Detroit. What's going on right now? We had a good kickoff. I hosted a dinner, had the whole cast there. It was a little back and forth going on at a dinner once again. And what's coming up now is some of the cast members talking about what's going on, how they handle stuff in their relationships. And then we have a couple people coming by the studio, and we just having a good time. Just running around the city, having a good time.
Absolutely. And for you and Dr. Latoya, what can fans expect from you guys in part 2? I know we got an introduction to everybody, and now we're seeing in depth your guys' different family dynamics and projects and business relationships. What can we expect from you guys? And yeah.
Oh, well, basically, we're talking about raising the kids. So that's a dynamic we hit on because I'm a personal favorite in the household. So, the kids come to dad a lot. I run around with them, and then it's showing about how she deals with mom guilt, to where she feels like the kids don't come to her and she feels like it should come more to her. But we got 2 boys and a girl. So my daughter actually does. And I'm trying to highlight that to her. It's just, I'm very close with the boys. They want to be like their dad. So I spend a lot of time with them. So we walk through that. We also, we steady build businesses. So I'm still building 18 at my production company in studio, and then also Entertainment University, my youth programs. So we just, sincerely, we just doing those things.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned that conversation with you and your wife and your kids, and we actually are going to share that brief clip, and then we'll come back and chop it up if that's cool.
Okay.
Give me just a moment to go ahead and share that with everybody.
It's the love you have to make happen. And that's really.
I get mom guilt a lot with the kids. I mean, I'm gone so much. I think we both are, but I don't want them to ever feel like I'm not there.
The stuff that you do, you're doing Ava's hair. You going to pick out dresses and saying, what do you want to wear all week, Ava? Those are moments as well.
No, I feel like it's not enough.
I think it's more of the perfectionism. We both give all the time we can. It's the perfectionism because they be scared to talk to you sometimes. Because mommy's going to say, no, you got to be perfect, or no, you got to do it. Not saying perfect, but that's how they feel. You want me to be a certain way. You want Trey to be a certain way. Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect, but I think God did a real good job with me. I think I'm pretty in a good space.
I don't feel I do have issues with perfectionism. I know that.
Because you criticize me quite a bit.
I criticize everything.
Everybody.
It's kind of disheartening to hear that the kids don't always feel comfortable talking to me. I think some of it is, boys being more comfortable with their dad. I just think that dad is sometimes more fun than me. Maybe I'm too hard on them sometimes. I do expect a lot from everyone, and I expect them to be successful. I hope that they know that everything that I say and do is for their betterment, and that I truly do care and love for them. I want the best out of everybody that's around me.
I think you need to be who God created you to be, but know how to manage it properly.
All right. So that was just a clip from the most recent episode. And Anthony, I think, like you said, it's having those tough conversations and wanting to be the best parents that you both can be for your children. which is so important. For you, how is this journey and being a part of Love and Marriage Detroit affected, your guys' personal life, especially in the Detroit community? Because I know we're going to talk about, you're outside of the show, the projects that you have going on. But has there been any changes or like any reaction, the public's reaction to seeing you and your family on the show?
Well, it's been more of a reaction for her. I see a lot of people because I work for Live Nation. So I see a lot of people when they come to concerts and shows and things of that nature. And then when we having programs in the school systems, I know a lot of people in the city. So for me, in the city hasn't changed a lot. It's more when I'm on the road traveling, and then people coming up to me when I'm in DC, when I'm in Atlanta, LA, when I'm in New York, just moving around. Even when I was in Charlotte recently, people walk up and say, "We love the show," and they be like, "You're crazy." We be cracking up, and they take a picture and we talk, and it's fun. I'm having a good time. It's weird for her, but I've been working in the industry so long that I've seen it before. I might not have been in front of the camera, but I've seen it so much that it didn't change much for me.
Absolutely, because I know you, like you said, you're not a stranger to the industry at all. You've been in the game for a while. So outside of the show, I want to talk a little bit more about AT Network TV and Entertainment University Youth. Can you tell us a little bit about your projects and partnerships that you have in projects outside of Love and Marriage Detroit? And then real quick, Doris, who hosted our interview with me and you last time, she's in the comments and she said that she loved seeing her vulnerability in that conversation.
Oh yeah, let me address that too. Her vulnerability. Yeah, she opened up a lot more in season 2. Well, she actually was open in season 1. They didn't show the clips, because you know how I go on production. They build characters. So they weren't gonna show her vulnerable really. So she was just speaking because of the fact of when she said, "Well, I'm gone a lot," and I had to explain to her, "You're not actually gone a lot, no more than any other mom, because you're a physical therapist. You work 3 days a week, and it's like you do get to spend time with the kids. You just give more attention, more to Ava, our daughter, because first of all, she's in the first grade, and she wants to be you. So you spend more time gravitate to her. So it was just for having to let her know, like, you do a lot." And recognize that it's just the boys always want me there, so that's just what happens. And then she feels like she cook every day, she do all the motherly things. I might be gone for a week on the road and come back, and then it's all about dad, and I know that's frustrating. I know it is, so I get to be more of a superhero than anything in the house.
Absolutely. And like you said, especially when you're gone working and out of town and then coming back, and it's just that different connection that children have with,
Mm-hmm.
their parents. And then I also want to talk about, so AT Network TV is your public your media outlet, correct?
Yep,
And
it's
you
a production
also
company and it's a studio.
and then you also have the Culture Conversations podcast.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that and what can we expect? Because your next season is just about to drop for the podcast, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you in on something. Actually, AT Network, we're building a streaming platform. It'll be out probably by June. So we've done the whole back end, and we're going to be looking for content creators to put their shows up. So you having a podcast, we welcome content creators, and also we cutting the best deals, better than Tubi. So we definitely going to want to give these opportunities out. But the Culture Conversations podcast is a podcast. We're on season 2. We cover people that are in the media industry, that's in film, TV, music, fashion, and sports. They get to come on. We have a conversation. They tell their story, and we just talk about their projects and what they have going on and the history that they have in the industry.
Absolutely, and I'm definitely when I come back to the city, I'm definitely gonna have to come and check out the studio for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we definitely need to link up when both of us are in town. For you, thus far with the podcast, has there been any extremely impactful? And I know you have impactful conversations with all your guests, but has there been any particular interview or episode that has stood out to you thus far?
Man, it's been actually a lot of them because they give, like, I've had people on there from like Def Jam Records, Drew Rives, that's been he's been in the industry for 30 years, you know, worked with the biggest artists in the world. And then you have people that come in from Live Nation, different companies, and they're giving so many jewels and so much information. It's like, if you're trying to get in this industry or into it, you really need to pay attention to this podcast because you can learn a lot. But when I say one of the interviews that I really enjoy was a guy named Q, and he told the story about going to go out to Wyoming to meet with Kanye West. The story is hilarious in season 1 of the podcast. So season 2 is going to be very good as well. But if you go check out season 1, it's on YouTube. That one with Q, that is a great episode.
Absolutely. I'm gonna definitely check that one out because I don't think I've seen that one yet. For you, how does podcasting allow you to show a different side of yourself than what we see on Love and Marriage Detroit? Because I know, like you said, we don't get to see, we get to see bits and pieces in what's edited. So how does like being able to have your own platform, you know, you get to pick what scene, what's discussed, what topics, what guests, what is that like for you?
Well, on a podcast, a lot of the people that's come on are my friends that I worked with in the industry. So you'll see like with us having conversations, like we've worked together for 10, 15 years and been on different tours together, worked on different artist projects together, things of that nature. Now on the show, I'm having fun. I'm just playing around. I'm just having a ball, making sure I entertain and that we continue to drive the conversation. That's majority of what happens there. Season 2, the women stepped up and I didn't have to do as much in season 2. And then, so it was fun. It was relaxing for me. And then on the podcast, you get to know, you see the real me on the podcast, like just how I kick it with my friends, like, and it's real cool, very informative. And then we just have a lot of fun.
So definitely more of that authentic side that's not shortened or abbreviated because it's your platform. You can produce what you want.
Oh yeah, because you know, and they got to do it production wise. They're gonna cut conversations together. They're gonna slice it. Like that ain't what I was talking about, but it's cool. It's for entertainment.
As long as we get a good laugh in, and people on X are talking and it's generating buzz and conversation, is doing what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
For sure. So I do want to close us out with a quick rapid game of rapid fire. What is, if there is any, the wildest behind the scenes moment from Love and Marriage Detroit that hasn't made it to air? Or is that forthcoming with the reunion?
No, I can talk about some stuff that haven't aired. I can talk about some cutout scenes. The wildest thing is when we actually shot in season 1 at the radio station for Radio 1. And Brandon and Lyric had it all out in the middle of the street. They didn't never aired it. They got into it in a major way. And I'm shocked that didn't make the show. Shocked. And then for season 2, Dr. Thompson, she had an amazing event talking about her she was coming out with a champagne. And they didn't air that. Man, that event was over the top. They didn't air it. So
I would have loved to see both of those. But
I'm talking about over the top. Champagne pouring, real luxury lifestyle, you know. Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see something similar maybe in season 3. Because I'm already speaking season 3 into existence.
Bless you. They can think that I'm not paying to do nothing like that for the show no more. You can forget about it.
Anthony said if the money's coming from elsewhere,
I'm good.
I feel it though. I feel it. Dream podcast guest, dead or alive, who would it be for you to interview on your platform?
Yes, I would like to bring on either Oprah or Tyler Perry.
Okay. I could see both of those would be some really good conversations.
Oh, and I'm not holding back. I'm saying I'm asking any question I ever wanted to ask.
Anthony's not playing.
No, we're gonna really get to it.
That's
not in a bad way.
But you're gonna have a real
conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So I asked Christina this, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. If Love and Marriage Detroit season 2, part 2, if you had to pick 3 emojis to describe this part of the show, what would you pick?
The 3 emojis I pick is the one with the brain blown, the laughing emoji for sure, and probably what's another one? I had to give myself the goat emoji using that one.
For sure. And then if you can say this, if not, I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. Who is more dramatic, reality TV producers or the stars of the show?
The producers, because they be in their head and their ear. I be laughing at people sometimes. It's funny to me. I show rated G. I don't know why they get that mad. Like, I don't.
And then if your life had a soundtrack, what song would you have played during the confessionals?
If my what had a soundtrack?
If your life had a soundtrack, or if you could pick one song to play in the background of the confessionals.
The song I would play, it would be Kirk Franklin's Stomp. Because you could take that either way you want.
Anthony Thompson, thank you so much again for joining us and giving us just a little bit about the projects that you've got going on and a little behind the scenes of Love and Marriage Detroit.
What do you think of it so far?
I'm living for it. I was gonna say this is the perfect segue into this weekend's episode on Saturday. So the title of it is called Podcast Pop Off, right?
Okay.
And I know we saw a little teaser. So Christina sits down to be on your podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then something goes down with Chelsea, or that's what it looks like.
Chelsea's low key a fan. She's the homie, dog. I ain't mad at Chelsea. She doing what she got to do.
I was like, whoa. She was like, I'm ready to go.
I like Chelsea. She's funny. She's funny to me.
She's hilarious.
She's hilarious to me, and I just know that we can make great TV and like go back and forth and crack jokes. But I don't think the people can handle it.
I agree.
They can handle it.
I agree.
Have a ball. What do you think between who do you like better, the Smiths or the Dobines?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say the Smiths because I like their storyline, and I think the Dobines. I haven't really formed my opinion. I'm glad we have an additional couple, but I haven't formulated my thoughts. I know with Colby and Russell, I think we're just really getting to see. I like that we're getting to see more of your guys' relationships with your guys' kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because with with their daughter and like they're going through the potty training process, and then we get to see your relationship with your kids and how Dr. Latoya's feeling about everything. So I'm just excited. I hear the reunion is going to be good. So I'm ready. I'm ready.
Who won the match between Bravo and Marcel? Who won?
I'm gonna say Bravo. I was gonna ask you though, because I know they just shared a clip. How do you feel about the whole? I think a lot of people have something to say about the sharing locations.
Sharing locations?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see what the issue is, because we've always shared location. Number one, we do it for the whole family because like I need to know where my kids at all time. They do a lot of sports. They travel around too. They do travel sports. But the thing is, when I'm out at night, because I'm gone a lot, I want her to know where I'm at. If something happens, so she can help me, so she can call somebody, or it's just a safety mechanism. But I don't have nothing to hide, so I don't mind. Me and my wife been together since college. We were best friends. So before we even got together, so I don't mind. I mean, to each his own. I don't have nothing to hide. I think it was kind of like, Keita's a sweetheart. Me and Dr. Thompson went to college with her, so we've known her for a long time. We all went to Michigan State together. So she's so sweet. I mean, just share your location, get over it.
I agree.
But Bravo's going to debate everything. He's a cool guy. He's funny. He's going to debate everything.
For sure. Bravo is hilarious. Bravo's combos. Doris said, I love how it played out though and didn't go all the way left. And then she said that she wanted to ask you your thoughts on their back and forth. LOL.
On their back and forth, I think that Bravo was just like messing with him to see how far he can go with him. I don't think Bravo cared that much for real. I think Bravo's all like, let's see who this guy is. Let's see if this guy can stand up to the rest of the fellas. I think it was more of that than anything. He was taking them through a little initiation, I feel.
Which rightfully so. I mean, they're the newer to the cast, so gotta ruffle some feathers and ask some questions, get people talking.
I wish they'd have showed what I said. They cut it out. I was all like, man, you better not apologize. You better not be on no apology tour.
Hilarious. All right, Anthony, I'm gonna get out of here, but thank you so much for joining us again. Let everybody know where to follow you and connect with you. We're also sharing it on the screen as well.
You. Anthony Thompson II everywhere. And man, blessings to you, man. I appreciate you. And man, y'all have a blessed weekend. It's a great time to celebrate.
Absolutely. I will be in touch with you so I can come and visit the studio, maybe even sit down and chop it up in person. But thank you again for joining us as always and rocking with our taker and our audience.
All right. Y'all have a blessed one.
You too. All right, y'all. That was Anthony Thompson, Love and Marriage Detroit. Be sure to catch Love and Marriage Detroit on OWN TV every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, stay locked in right here to Ty's Take Today for Doris and I's recap. We're going to be going live, talking to cast members. If you haven't seen our previous interview with Anthony, you guys can check that out on our YouTube page. Also, check out our interviews with Christina and Chelsea. And as always, Love and Marriage, if y'all want to come on the show and share your thoughts, we'll open the floor to our audience that is watching as well. And like I said, I want to thank all of our guests this evening with the Profit-Ista Nicole Gillyard, Dr. Darla Bishop, Anthony Thompson, who we just spoke to. And if you guys haven't already, be sure to enter on our social media so you guys can win this copy of, well, not this copy, but we have 2 copies to give away of How to Afford Everything by Dr. Darla Bishop. And that information on that contest is going to be posted up on our Instagram and our Facebook. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And coming up on Sunday's episode, I can't believe we're already talking about Sunday, but we're going to be talking to music artist Terrence Rashad. So we're going to be talking about his journey. And then we're also going to be talking to Leisha B from 105.1 The Bounce. She is the new morning show host on 105.1 The Bounce in Detroit. So we'll be talking to her as well. And then before we get out of here, I have to let you all know where to follow us all over social media because we're everywhere. TysTakeToday.com, YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for past episodes, previous interviews, behind the scenes content. And if you subscribe to us on there, you can actually see upcoming episodes and who we're going to have on the show. Also, Facebook and Instagram at It's Ty's Take Today. And of course, as always, if you are a business owner, music artist, author, entrepreneur, nonprofit, or if you just have a creative or inspiring story that you want to share with our audience, be sure to send us a message on all of our social media platforms. Or if you have a story idea, you can DM us or email us at Ty's Take Today podcast. And we love to feature you all on the show. And as always, I've been ending all of my episodes since the end of February with this, and I'm going to do the same from now until she gets fully better. But this episode and all of my past episodes are dedicated to my mom, who is currently fighting in the recovery process. But she is going to be okay. And I just wanted to say this is for her because she's my #1 fan and she'd be in the chats right now, watching along, sharing everything on her Facebook. So I love you and this is for you. And I can't wait to be able to sit down with you and watch all of our episodes so that we can get you caught up. But for my family and for me, thank you to everyone that has been reaching out, showing love and sending their support and making sure that we're good. Prayers up. And I hope you all have a great weekend. We'll be back on Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you there.